especially in Chicago, you don't get too many chances, and you make a couple wrong mistakes, you will not survive. Chicago has a bad reputation due to a lot of things. First, you always got to start with, economics, politics, how the city's built from the infrastructure, Outside of that, once that grows, you got gangs, you have corruption, and I don't mean just, the black gangs, organizations on the black, streets. You also have, the gangs that came from the Al Capone days, the Al Capone, things like that, Bugs Moran, and when those things start to formulate, you have a whirlwind of people trying to copy and people trying to survive, and they come together to stay alive and for protection. And the gang thing in Chicago is probably one of the most strongest I've ever seen as far as the longevity, how it started, when it started. Chicago has always been a dangerous place, and it's mostly due to organized crime. Gang activity has always been real strong, and it's a very stronghold city. It's never been any infiltration of any other gangs outside of Illinois. It's always been Chicago type of gangs, and it's a very concentrated city, and it's like a world of its own, and it could be a very dangerous place, but it's a beautiful city at the same time. The people that are dead or in jail, those are basically mostly as a high percentage of people that do join gangs and do get into criminal activities. So you got to avoid that stuff, because no matter what this music says, it's not a good route to take, because there's only two streets to that: either death or in jail.
I had a lengthy incarceration. I was locked up from the age of 13 to 40 something. I caught a range of cases. But the most serious case that made me really pay attention to my life and want to do things better was when I fought the Illinois death sentence, which at that time, while incarcerated, I started to pay attention to my dreams, who I wanted to be, who I was, what is it in life that I was looking for. Just got a chance to look inside me and see who I was and get out of my body, have an out-of-body experience to see the real me versus the fake me.
My brother was living on one side of Chicago, I was on another, and my brother was killed, shot quite a few times, and murdered in Chicago on the southeast side, during a very, very violent time in Chicago back in '95, from 90, I want to say like 92 to 97, give or take a few years. That was a very violent time in Chicago. Some real dark ages, and it's dark now, but that was the point in time that took my brother away. And after that, I was turned off from, a lot of people, a lot of things, that type of life, you would think I would leave that life alone, but I almost, out of anger, embraced it more.
A man in the house. A lot of people don't realize the significance of having a man in the house for a woman or a man, because the man is the one that gives the proper, or his presence makes a greater difference in the child's life. There's some things that kids don't have to go through if their daddy was just there. You really don't even have to do nothing. But when other kids know the kids got a father in the house, it plays a major part, because that kid now thinks, man, do I got to put up with his father? But when you have a child that's raised in a house and all he got is females there, that your friends learn that, they're not really scared of you, because they know that ain't no man gonna come out that house. But if you a child, you got your father, your grandfather, your uncle, some man in your life, it pays, for the long run, it plays a better part than it does with a child not having a father. So it's most important that kids have some type of male figure in their life, even if he ain't the father. They need that backbone. You got to have some type of backbone to fall back on, and your mama's not going to always provide that. So it's a must that some type of man is in every child's life. Not just, okay, my life is over with, but from today on, every child should have some type of man in their life. Teacher, librarian, some man that's doing them good. Every child deserves it.
I was raised by a single mother. I was my mother's only child, you know. My father had 2 other children, but my mother only had me, so it was me and my mother. And, you know, she had to go work, pay the bills, and make sure, you know, there's food on the table. So I was basically, you know, raised more likely some friends, streets, little TV, a lot of music. But it was hard, you know, because when you have one parent in the house, you know, you don't have that full balance. And when you don't have a full balance, you know, naturally things are going to tilt a certain way, whether it's good or bad, you know. And, you know, that kind of played a big part in my life, as it, you know, probably did a lot of kids. But having, you know, just a single parent, my mother was strong, very strong, and still is to this day. But, you know, having a father there would have balanced me, where I would have definitely made wiser decisions. Probably got that belt to my back when I needed it, you know, more or less. Really, at the end of the day, you know, a boy needs a father, and you know, so does a girl. Baby girls need their dad too, you know. So it makes a difference when you come from a place like Chicago, and you're starting out with one parent. So you know, the balance is already not in your favor. So that's just one of the things, how you're raised. And you know, if you had that guidance, if you have some after school activities, sports or whatever, that's good. But if not, you just had the streets to tend with, and you know, you start picking up those different type of ways and values off the street, and you start moving a certain way, and you know, from that point, decisions are made, whether they're good or bad, because your mom can help you make decisions on one point of your life and of your day, but the other half of your day you're by yourself, so you're making your own decisions. So that plays a major part, and it played a major part in my household, as well as a lot of other households as well. And I always grew up saying, once I have children, I'll never put them in the predicament my father put me by not being, you know, around. So when my first child was born, my second sense kicked in and said, hey, nah, you gotta be here for him, because if something happens to you, then how are you any different than your father? Whether it's to, you know, the streets, jail, or whatever. So I had to, you know, straighten up and try to fly right. And it took a while, but, you know, my children helped balance me a whole lot.
If my upbringing was different, great question. A whole different individual, plenty of money, I have all my friends around me, I really be enjoying life. It wouldn't be no, it'd be a whole different movement with me. It wouldn't be doing an interview for this, it would be doing an interview of why I do so much for my people.
I would have probably played football, more than likely, without a doubt, and had gotten a scholarship out of high school. And I see myself probably retiring a few years ago, or do something like Tom Brady and just not be trying to come out the league in my mid-40s. But I definitely was an outstanding football player, you know, and that was my dream, and that was something I think I would have probably been doing. Am I still surviving Chicago? Yeah. I mean, I'm still here. As long as I'm here, I'm surviving. I'm gonna have to survive anywhere I go, but Chicago is just a little bit tougher to survive in Chicago, because it's, you know, it's just a different type of place. It's almost hard to explain, but I'm still surviving. I'm still watching what I do. I'm still being patient. I'm still trying to, you know, speak to the youth and help and teach and coach these kids in these sports. And these are things that I do, you know, for my community. So I don't just talk, I do. You know, I take action, you know. I don't just, give a bunch of lip service. I get out there and I try to make a difference in my community and teach the young, and hey, I teach the old too if I have to.
You always survive in Chicago. You never conquer Chicago. You've never, it's never a win. If you live in Chicago, Illinois, every day that you wake up is a battle.